Hey, Tim Sykes here, and I want to go over some important lessons from one of my newly successful students. If you go to my website, timothysykes.com, and you scroll down, and by the way, yes, I know we have to update this number. There's too much going on. My team and I are behind. But down here, we have different blog posts, and the last 3 blog posts are really useful. This free guide that I put together just a few days ago, you guys should all be reading this. Then this blog post, what is the pattern day trader rule and why you do not need $25,000 to trade stocks. It's a vicious lie. But this new blog post is of my student Roland. He's one of my new trading challenge students, but he just passed 100,000 in profits. Look at this guy. Look at how handsome he is. And the lessons that he included in this guest blog post are so good and so useful. I encourage you to read this whole post. I'll link it, or you can just go to timothysykes.com. But let me just go over his 10 lessons real quick and just reinforce them and add a little more to what he said. Number 1, put your education first. I can't tell you how many people are like, Tim, yeah, I'll study eventually. Just give me one hot pick. Let me know that you're real. Guess what, guys? I'm real. I've been showing all my trades and all my top students' trades for, I've been trading for 19 years, but I've been teaching for 10 years. I'm real. The lessons are real. If you want to ignore me, that's on you. That's not on me. I've done everything humanly possible to get you to study. And if you do study, putting your education first will help you so much. People ask me, what's your number 1 tip? What's your best pick? What should I do right now? Invest in yourself. Invest in your future. The other day, I was giving a Q&A webinar to my Trading Challenge students, and I kind of came up with this cool thing, and I was like, what can you do today to make your 2020 self better? That's 2.5 years from now. And a lot of what you think that you're doing right now is really going to make you money or help you in the future. It's not. If you think about what you want to accomplish over the next 2.5 years, you have to start thinking about, what can you put in place right now that will, grow exponentially? And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about your knowledge, and I'm talking about developing good habits right now. Number 2, be disciplined. This is so important. I know some people, some crazy people literally think that, it's all about just research and fundamentals and, there's no mental game and there's no discipline. And literally anybody who talks about discipline or, psychology in trading is insane. Well, I'm here to tell you that 2 decades of experience have taught me the exact opposite. You do have to be disciplined. You have to learn the rules. Hot picks and research don't matter as much as what you are doing with your own trades and your own plan. The number 1 problem why people lose money in the market is because they don't have a plan and they don't stick to their plans. They're not disciplined. So I want you to learn how to create a plan, and then I want you to stick to it. And sometimes, guess what? We're not all perfect. Earlier this week, I got a little sloppy. I did not cut losses quick enough. It cost me roughly $1,000. I wasn't disciplined enough. So don't feel bad if you do screw up, but just try to get better over time. And this leads to number 3, patience. Oh my God, so many of you guys want success like today, this week, this month, this year. Tim Grittani, who is closing in on $5 million in profits in just over 5 years of trading, he was not consistently profitable for the first 9 months of his career. Not, making $1 million in 9 months. I'm talking about even being consistently profitable and trying to make, 100,000. So it pays off later. So you have to have patience. Another problem I see with students is that they just give up. They're frustrated, learning the rules, trying to be disciplined. A stock goes the opposite way. It's frustrating. You put in all this time, you got your hopes up, and then the stock market crushes your dreams, and then you want to give up. Do not give up. Have patience, okay? This will last forever. Knowledge lasts forever, especially if you pass it down to your kids and your grandkids. The stock market will be open forever. So whether you understand everything and get consistently profitable in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 24 months, it doesn't matter, okay? We're gonna live long lives. Modern medicine is increasing, so have patience. Just don't expect everything to happen right away. There are a few moving pieces, and you have to get used to it. A lot of the best rules that work are kind of counterintuitive. It's weird. It's not easy. Again, this is why 90% of traders lose. Number 4, strive for self-sufficiency. I can't tell you how many students just want hot picks. You know, they're like, yeah, I'll learn eventually, but come on, Tim, I don't have time right now. Just give me a taste. And I'm like, what am I, like a drug dealer? You want like a taste? I can't do drugs. My only drug is Advil PM. Listen to that. Oh, that's the sound of magic, okay? I should probably be more self-sufficient and not rely on Advil PM for sleeping so much. But you guys need to be more self-sufficient with education. Do not follow alerts or picks from anybody. Rely on yourself. Learn to figure this stuff out on your own. Don't trade in teams. I hate that, you know? You're always relying on other people. What happens if your team breaks up? What happens if you're following some hot trader and maybe they're just a newbie and they're not experienced, so they haven't seen any other markets, and all of a sudden they start getting crushed? You're not ready to adapt. So be your own trader. All my millionaire students, the cool thing is that, yes, they've made money, but they are self-sufficient. They don't need me. They don't need anybody. They can trade from anywhere. Stephen Dox is in China. He posted a screenshot the other day, or earlier today. You know, he's made like $55,000 in a day. Tim Grattani is traveling all over the world. He's in like Iceland or London. Maybe he just got back, but he's trading and traveling. Self-sufficiency is beautiful. Number 5, cut losses quickly. This is not negotiable. You know, you can be wrong on any stock. It doesn't matter how much time or how much research you put in. You know, I get very disappointed when I put in a lot of time, but I accept it and understand that the stock market, especially penny stocks, can be frustrating. But if you go in with improper expectations, if you think every play is going to be a winner, if you're not prepared for the losers, you will get crushed. So cut losses quickly. Do not let small mistakes turn into potentially big disasters. Number 6, lock in profits. Just like cutting losses quickly, you know, aim for singles. Be the Ichiro of penny stocks. You don't need to go for home runs. You won't see me make 100, 200, 300% on any stock. I'm taking profits usually 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% max, okay? If I make 50% on a trade, that is the absolute best you will see me do. That said, I make a lot of 10%, a lot of 20%. That is how you grow your account gradually. Number 7, focus on preparation. Oh man, I kind of think this should be number 1. You know, you cannot over prepare. A lot of you guys, again, want the easy path. You want to cheat your way to success. You're like, Tim, can you talk less? Can we just fast forward through your video lessons? No, you must put in extra time if you want extraordinary gains. If you want to be lazy, if you don't want to prepare, guess what? You're not going to do that well. A good example is Kobe Bryant. He was known on the basketball court to stay sometimes shooting free throws till like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. He was prepared. Nobody could ever blame him for not being prepared. And it feels good not to blame yourself if you prepare enough. You know, if you lose, sometimes it happens. But if you prepare and prepare and prepare, you've done everything in your power to do well. So you can't control the stock market. You can't control the outcomes. All you can do is control your preparation. So don't slack on that. Number 8, stay humble and eager to learn. Even after I've made millions of dollars, even after I've been trading, I'm still learning new rules. You see it in my video lessons. You see it in my teaching. I'm still eager to get better as a trader and as a teacher. Always be optimizing. Think of yourself as a scientist. You're trying to perfect this formula that's impossible to be perfect, because even when you find a strategy or a pattern that works, the market is a fluid thing and it changes over time. So you must always adapt. You always must stay humble and eager to learn. If you get cocky, if you think the stock market is ever too easy, you start betting big, that will be your downfall. You know, pride cometh before the fall. And I don't want that to happen to you. I don't care how successful you are. You're only as good as your last trade. Number 9, there is no magic formula. I know you guys want this to be easier. Even in my trading challenge Q&A the other day, people are like, okay, Tim, let's just say there's a breakout. Do you want to wait for the breakout or do you want to buy the dip? And I'm like, well, what is the news? What time of day is it? What's the float? What's the stock's past performance and history? What's your schedule? What's your account size? What's your position size? There's not any one rule that will make you money every single time. Part of the reason why I introduced the Sykes sliding scale on TraderChecklist.com, and Trader Checklist is all on TraderChecklist.com. You have no excuse not to see it. We even put the Trader Checklist videos on YouTube because some of you guys were having technical issues. So you have no excuse not to know Trader Checklist from the very beginning to the end. And if you understand the Sykes sliding scale, you will understand that there are multiple variables that I look at before I enter or exit or add to or lessen any position. There is no one right way, and the market is always changing, so you must always adapt. I don't want to teach you to memorize any one thing and say, this always works. Well, sometimes always doesn't work. And I don't care what value investors say, where they're always dip buying value companies. Some of those value companies in a bear market, they can keep going down. And I don't care what some short sellers say, where they say, oh, this scam is going to go to zero. Well, DRYS is pretty much the closest thing to a scam, and it went to over $100 a share from just a few dollars a share in less than a week. The single most fundamentally flawed company in the entire stock market performed the best, going up 20 plus times in just a few days. So don't ever think that there is any one magic formula, short selling or going long. You must always adapt. Everything is a sliding scale. And number 10, this is the most important. I'm so glad Roland got it. Attitude is everything. It's kind of crazy to me that, I repeat these lessons, I repeat these rules, but so many of you guys, sadly, will never become a millionaire because you don't believe in it. Either you don't want to follow instructions because you don't believe me and my top students, or you don't believe in yourself and you're like, oh, it only happens to other people. It could never happen to you. Well, with that attitude, you're right. With that negativity, with that laziness, with that pessimism, it will never happen to you. You have to actually believe that you're going to be a millionaire. And again, this goes back to psychology. And as tough as it is for me to create millionaires from scratch, and I've only done it a few times, I have dozens of students who have made six figures, but I only have a few students who have crossed into seven-figure profit territory. Of course, it's not easy because most people start with a few $1,000s. So there are some people who are like, oh, Tim only has a few millionaire students. It's such a fraud. It's such a scam. Well, show me anybody else who's teaching consistently how to turn a few thousand into a few million. It's not a scam. If you don't believe me, if you have any doubt, just don't learn, okay? As tough as it is for me to create millionaires, it is impossible for me to create a millionaire from scratch if you don't have the right attitude. This is why you actually have to apply to my Millionaire Challenge. And the Millionaire Challenge is a small community. We reject most people for many different reasons, but we let people apply and see if they have what it takes. And Roland has what it takes. As you can see, he just passed 100,000 in profits. People like Tim Grittani, Michael Good, Stephen Dux, Mark Crook, they all have the right attitude. They're studying their asses off. I don't know if you've seen my video interview with Stephen Dux. He's studying on the toilet. Mark Crook has watched all my video lessons 3 or 4 times. Tim Grittani trades literally almost every single day, and he's learning. Michael Good has more spreadsheets than he does hair follicles on his back. I don't know, that was a weird analogy. But attitude is everything. You can have fun with this. You can make jokes. This isn't like a serious, boring kind of thing. But at the same time, you do have to have that big goal. You do have to believe in it. And a lot of you are like, Tim, I don't want to make millions. Just teach me how to make $10,000 or something. I don't need 7 figures. If you aim for 7 figures, if you have that big goal, studies have been done by Harvard professors, people like Professor Locke and Latham. And if you look at the studies, setting a big goal as opposed to a little goal will push you harder each and every single day. Your overall performance increases. So do me a favor and have the big goal. Focus on becoming a millionaire. Even if you miss the big goal and you only make $100,000, or Roland's up to 120,000, that's still pretty damn good. So get on the right path, get in the habit, develop good habits now, because not any one stock will make you rich. But if you're undisciplined, if you bet too big, if you're cocky, if you don't cut losses quickly, all it takes is one bad trade to wipe you out in your monetary account, in your knowledge account, in your confidence account, and then most people give up if they blow up. Remember, Tim Grittani, even though it took him 9 months to get consistently profitable, if you watch his interview that we did a few weeks ago, he actually blew up. He actually lost his first $1,500, and he came back to do better. So don't feel bad if you lose a few $1,000s. I'm not trying to say that a few $1,000s isn't important, okay? Because once upon a time, I only had a few $1,000s to my name. But if you have the right attitude and mindset, thinking, wait a minute, this is something that's going to take time to learn. There is no exact formula. I can be a millionaire, but it's going to take time. If I lose a few $1,000s testing and tinkering, guess what? That is okay. In the grand scheme of your life, $1,500 or $2,000 or even $5,000 isn't going to change you one way or another. Let's say your 2020 self or 2025 or 2030, 12, 13 years from now. You won't give a shit about $1,000 or $5,000. And if you lose that in the process of cutting losses quickly, testing, trying to get better and refining, then those are good losses. And I know some of you are like, Tim, what kind of a loser says that a loss is good? Sometimes you have to lose. Sometimes that's life. That's part of the stock market. And you have to learn to lose small and not get stubborn and not try to, have this perfect record, because if you aim for perfection, you will fail. And if you, I know a few traders where they're like, I've won all my closed trades, but I have 3 unrealized trades, unrealized gains or losses. They're still open trades, but it's not a loss until you sell, right? And so they keep holding, they keep hoping, and hope is not a strategy. No one gives a shit if you have a perfect record or not, okay? You're not aiming for like a no-hitter in baseball, or this isn't the Olympics where you need, a 10.0 on the difficulty. Triforce is sending out video lessons. I love it. This isn't a 10.0 on the difficulty scale. The goal here is to make as much money as you can over time in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years. And by thinking that way, the small losses won't affect you that much because you're learning good habits. But that said, you do have to cut losses quickly. I don't want to hear anybody losing their entire account and people saying, well, Tim said that was a good loss. No. Learn to lose 1% of your account. Learn to lose, less than 1% of your account. You need to cut losses quicker, far more meticulously than you think. I see some people out there like on social media, they're not in my chat room, they're not in my challenge, and they're like, well, I had a $2,000 account, but I just lost $700. How do you lose a third of your account if you're cutting losses quickly? Oh, wait, you're not. You're not paying attention to the rules. So again, you can ignore all my rules. You can ignore all of these little 10 bullet points, or you can learn them on your own the hard way. And it'll be vastly more frustrating, vastly more expensive, and vastly more time consuming that way. I'm trying to cut down your learning curve. And I'm glad that Roland gets it, and so many more of you guys get it, and I thank you. If you do understand this video lesson and the rules that I just kind of explained briefly, type in those 3 words underneath this video with the 3 words saying, I get it. And let's see how many of you get it. Don't lie to me. If you don't get it, that's fine. There's a lot of video lessons, a lot of DVDs. If you're a challenge student, you have access to webinars from me, Mark Crook, Michael Good, and Tim Grittani. It takes time. Don't feel bad if you don't get it. But if you do get these basic rules, please do leave a comment. I like looking at every comment. I like seeing, kind of the results of my teaching. I don't make these video lessons just to talk to myself. I don't enjoy talking to a laptop and looking like a crazy person. But I do enjoy, hopefully, influencing you guys and getting you on the right track, learning-wise, and eventually, growing your account exponentially wise. So that's today's lesson. Again, thank you to Roland for helping explain these 10 awesome lessons and writing this great blog post, and congrats to Roland for passing 100,000 in profits. Also, if you guys like this blog post, leave a comment underneath the post and congratulate Roland. I know he appreciates it. And I love this community that we've built where we support each other and we congratulate each other when we pass milestones. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the chat room, and use the weekend to study hard. Don't just take days off. Don't get lazy. Roland, Stephen Dux, Mark Crook, myself, Tim Grattani, we all kind of believe in no days off. And I'm sorry that's what it takes to be successful, but it's up to you.
My name is Tim Sykes, and I teach people to trade stocks. I am a self-made multimillionaire.
So this is the ideal trade that I'm going to talk about. I want you guys to understand every single aspect of this trade.